Now, because of Joseph's tender gentleness, and because of his fidelity, and his sort of competence to work properly. Now, even though he was a slave in the land of Egypt, he worked properly, right? And he didn't complain anymore. And because of that, he won the heart of Potiphar, the chief captain. And Potiphar did not look at him as a slave only, but also regarded him as a son. And he was introduced to high-ranking officers. He was introduced to knowledge and sort of understanding, from which he gained sort of the knowledge of science, the knowledge of languages and affairs, how to deal with business, how to manage politics. And this education would come beneficial to Joseph a little while later when he becomes the Prime Minister of Egypt, which we shall see shortly. Okay, that's a big part of this plan that God had for Joseph at the end of the day. But when he was given the authority of Potiphar's house to oversee Potiphar's house, he was put under a fiery trial. Okay, his faith and his integrity were tested underneath this trial, but brought to him or proposed to him by Potiphar's wife. Now, his master's wife endowed to entice him, and many young men fall in this trap. Many young men have that carnal mind and fall into this trap. We'll talk about that in a second. But Joseph didn't. Okay. Now he even in this temptation, and in the land of temptation, because Egypt was a pagan place, so they had a lot of temptation in there. He knew the consequences of lying with Potiphar's wife. On one hand, it would be concealment, favor, and rewards, and on the other hand, disgrace, imprisonment, and some maybe even death. Right? Now his whole future depended on this, upon the decision of the moment. Now, which principle would triumph for him? Would it be to give in to Potiphar's wife, or would be to abstain from such a transgression? Right? Now, and even the angels, they looked upon this scene with anxiety. But Joseph reveals and answers with the power of religious principle. Right? He knew, and he knew sort of the consequences, but he also would not betray the confidence of his master on earth, nor would he be untrue to the master in heaven. And his response was, how can I do this great wickedness and sin against God, he said. So he showed his faith not only to the master of the earth, but also to his master in heaven. And that shows the power of God. When you have God in your heart, you can overcome these temptations.